Hello, everyone. Today we have a very interesting story about a lazy boy who was surprisingly clever. By the end of this story, we will learn how even a lazy person can overcome laziness, work harder, and achieve something meaningful. So stay with us until the end. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village, there lived a young boy named Ethan. He lived with his parents in a small house near the edge of the village. Ethan was known for being extremely lazy. Every morning, Ethan went to the fields with his father, but he always looked for ways to finish his work with the least possible effort. One of his regular tasks was carrying water to the plants and checking whether the crops were safe, while his father worked from one end of the field to the other. Ethan often searched for shortcuts. One day, he noticed that the water channels were not reaching some parts of the fields properly. Instead of carrying heavy buckets again and again, Ethan collected a few old bamboo pipes and connected them to the main water channel. He carefully placed them between the rows of crops so that water could flow toward different areas of the field. Although Ethan was lazy and always tried to avoid unnecessary effort, he had a clever mind and was surprisingly good at finding simple solutions to difficult problems. His father was sometimes worried about his son's laziness. He often thought, what will happen if I become sick? Will Ethan be able to take care of everything? Still, Ethan always completed the small amount of work he was given, so his father never became too angry with him. One summer, the village faced a very dry season. There was hardly any rain, and the fields needed extra care. Unfortunately, Ethan's father became seriously ill, and the Ethan had to look after the entire field by himself. At first, Ethan tried his best, but he was not used to working hard for long hours. After several weeks, the crops began to dry up because they were not getting enough water. Ethan tried to save them, but there was too much work for him to handle alone. That evening, Ethan sat outside beneath the shining stars. He felt helpless, disappointed, and ashamed. He looked at the field and thought, why did not I learn to work harder before? I always thought I could avoid hard work. Now my family's future is in danger. The next morning, Ethan heard a crowd gathering in the village. Curious, he went outside to find out what was happening. A soldier had arrived with exciting news. He was announcing a great competition at the king's palace. The winner would receive a large chest filled with gold. Ethan's eyes widened. He thought, this prize could help my family. Maybe I can save them. Without wasting much time, Ethan decided to enter the competition. The villagers laughed when they heard the news. How can Ethan win a competition like this? One villager said. He is the laziest boy in the village. Another person laughed. The competition would include strong and talented people from different parts of the kingdom. But Ethan did not listen to them. He had only 3 days to reach the king's palace, so he left the village early the next morning. His parents were not sure that Ethan could win, but they secretly hoped that this journey would teach him something important and help him change his lazy habits. 3 days later, Ethan arrived at the palace. The first round of the competition took place beside a huge lake. Many strong and athletic contestants were standing near the water. Ethan looked at them and became nervous. How can I possibly compete with these people? He wondered. Soon the rules were announced. Each contestant had to cross the lake. The first 3 people to reach the other side would qualify for the next round. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1, go. Everyone jumped into the water and began swimming as quickly as possible. But Ethan stayed where he was. He looked at the swimmers and thought, if I try to beat them by swimming, I will probably lose. I need another idea. Suddenly, he had an idea. Ethan quickly ran toward a nearby forest. He searched around and found several strong broken branches. Using the branches, he built a small raft. Then he found another piece of wood and used it as a paddle. Ethan smiled and thought, this is a race to cross the lake, not a swimming competition. I may not be the strongest person here, but I can still use my brain. While the other contestant became tired from swimming, Ethan slowly paddled his raft across the lake. Slowly but surely, he moved ahead of several swimmers. In the end, Ethan reached the other side in third place. He had qualified for the next round. Two other contestants, both very strong and athletic, qualified along with him. The following morning, the final challenge began. Each contestant was given a large wooden block. Their task was to move the block 1 kilometer to the finish line. Behind them was a table filled with different tools. Each contestant could choose only one tool to help move the block. The first contestant immediately grabbed a strong rope and began pulling his block. The second contestant picked up a thick piece of wood and used it as a lever. Ethan did not rush. He carefully looked at all the tools and thought about what he could do. I can't beat these people by using my muscles, he whispered to himself. I need to find a smarter way. After thinking for a while, Ethan picked up a small knife. The crowd looked confused. Someone shouted, how can a tiny knife possibly help him move that huge block? But Ethan had a completely different plan. Instead of trying to push or pull the heavy block, he began carving it. He carefully cut away pieces of wood and slowly changed the shape of the block. He kept working for 1 full hour. Finally, Ethan stepped back and looked at his creation. The heavy wooden block had become round, almost like a giant wooden ball. Now Ethan did not have to carry or drag the heavy block. He simply pushed it. The wooden ball began rolling along the road. Ethan pushed it forward easily while the other contestants struggled to drag their heavy blocks. The two strong contestants were using all their strength, but their blocks moved very slowly. Ethan's wooden ball rolled faster and faster. He caught up with them and soon moved ahead. With determination and the clever idea he had created, Ethan became the first contestant to cross the finish line. The crowd suddenly erupted into loud cheers. Everyone was amazed. Nobody had expected the lazy boy from the small village to win the competition. The king himself was impressed by Ethan's intelligence and clever thinking. Ethan had won the chest of gold, but more importantly, he had learned something much more valuable. He had discovered that being lazy and being smart are not the same thing. A clever person can find an easier way to complete a difficult task, but they still need determination and a strong reason to take action. For Ethan, that reason was his love for his family. This story teaches us an important lesson. If you ever feel lazy or unmotivated, ask yourself why you want to achieve your goal. Maybe you want to help your family, maybe you want to build a better future. Maybe you want to achieve your dreams or prove to yourself that you are capable of more. Whatever your reason is, let it give you the motivation to keep moving forward. Remember, you don't always have to be the strongest person in the room. Sometimes the smartest idea combined with determination can take you further than strength alone. Today we also learned some useful new words and sentences through this story. So keep listening, keep learning and keep growing. And don't forget to subscribe our channel Book Voice Zone for more interesting stories and audiobooks. Thank you for watching and I will see you in my next video.